Hello, my name is James A. Cameron Jr., and for the past 6 years I have been portraying an 18th century man of color by the name of John Rollison. John Rollison, like so many other unknown patriots, black and white, have been left out of our history books. Mr. Rollison's story embodies why, in 18th century America, people from all over the world are coming here to gain a new start. Even though Mr. Rollison was a man of color, at the time of his death in December of 1780, 3 years before the end of the Revolution and the Treaty of Paris, Rollison was arguably one of the wealthiest men in all of Virginia. The staff and I here at Our Historical Past hope to enlighten and educate you, our listening audience, and bring Virginian as well as unknown American history to the forefront. We also invite you to let your voice be heard. If you have questions and comments on any of the topics discussed on this or any other program, feel free to contact us here at Our Historical Past by going to Ask John Rollison, that's AskJohnRollison, one word, at hotmail.com. That's Ask John Rollison, one word, at hotmail.com. Please be sure to include your name and where you live. If you would also like to make a donation, become a corporate sponsor, or have Mr. Rollison or other 18th century historical persons at your event, you can inquire by going to Our Historical Past, that's OurHistoricalPast at hotmail.com. That's Our Historical Past, one word, at hotmail.com. And now, ladies and gentlemen, Our Historical Past.
It's good to see you again this Sunday, Mr. Rollison.
And if I can say so, I'm glad to be back.
Mr. Rollison, we discussed various topics last week, and to start this program, I want to talk about a delicate issue, if it's all right with you.
Well, of course, that is hopefully why I'm here, to be at your service.
Okay, I would truly like to begin with the topic of slavery.
Well, of course, if we must.
On our last program, you said that you owned a number of slaves. Is that true?
Quite yes.
So I want to make it very clear to our audience there was no restrictions in owning slaves as long as you were a free man.
Well, yes, as long as you were free, of course, being white, automatically you were free as long as you were not indentured. And as I said on our last situation together, if a person was indentured, of course, they were not able to be unencumbered until after they finished their indentured servitude, which could have been anywhere from 3 to 7 or even 10 years. But once we signed our Declaration of Independency, most indentures, since most of those contracts were under the court of the king, walked away from being indentures. And so after 1776 and the ratification of our Declaration of Independency, there was no such thing as indentured servants. I believe only a small percentage stayed under contract.
So how did you purchase or acquire your slaves?
Well, during season, which was usually during the summer months, slave auctions were held in Williamsburg, usually twice a month. and one could make purchase of slaves at that time.
So, in other words, you bought them at a slave auction.
Yes, that is correct.
So, what was the average cost to buy a slave?
Well, the average cost, that is a, well, that is
I
a,
guess what I'm asking is, were there differences in the purchase price of a slave?
well, yes, whether it was a male, whether it was a female, whether that male was young, old, if the female was young, old, being, of course, of childbearing age, which would have been from, of course, any time from 14 to about, I would say, early 30s, as well as if they had any skills, if they had the ability to already read, write, to do mathematical principles, or if they were trained in one of the trades, of course, they would also have more value, which means they would be at a higher cost.
So, what were the, or were there, I should say, any other factors, different factors in the cost of a slave? Any others that you can think of?
Well, height, size, abilities to, of course, their teeth. Teeth, of course, were checked on upon every slave, because if their teeth were rotted, well, that means that they would more than likely be of bad health, if not then, in the future, which means they would be future expense with doctors. I think that is what you use. Of course, here we just had different individuals that dealt with the physical attributes of the slaves.
So now, having given us all of those various factors, tell us again, what was the average cost to buy a slave?
25 pounds, which is no shortened measure. 25 pounds in my day was about 90%, if not even more, of what the average person earned for the whole year. So if, of course, one was of a higher class, well, of course, a gentry class, like Mr. Washington and so on and so forth, or of middling and upper middling, well, of course, then the earnings were higher, anywhere between 40 to 50 pounds or even more per year. But the average laborer earned only 30 to 32 pounds for a given year.
Mr. Rollison, before we came on the air, you told me something that I found very fascinating. Your slaves could go into town and sell their own wares, as you put it.
Yes, as long as they had permission, of course, which I granted. A lot of times the slaves, I can only specifically talk about my own slaves, would grow their own crops, which of course they might take into town and sell. They might grow some of their own stock, chickens especially, which laid eggs, and they would sell their eggs upon market. And let me also say that whatever they charged was what the person had to pay, unless, of course, prices were negotiated. But you could not take advantage of the position of the slave being a slave as far as what they charged. They also would put together blankets and different needle things, and they would sell those in the market as well.
So from what you're saying, or maybe I should ask, do you conceive slavery as almost humane in your time?
Well, the ownership of a human being by another human being under any circumstance, and under no circumstance would I say is humane. But since I cannot vote, I cannot run or hold political office, nor have I ever done so, the only thing that I can do is be humane upon my own, and to be humane with my own slaves. And so, under the situation, can I attest for this thing of slavery? Well, yes, I can. But can I have control over it through voting and through sharing a voice upon this, what I call dreadful abomination, the answer to that is no.
I see. You said last week when you awake and have your morning meal, you accompany it with beer.
Oh, yes. That is not the only thing, by the way. Um, well, I will wait usually until a little bit later, more in the early afternoon before my dinner time, which is usually after 2 upon the clock, is a good hot buttered rum. And do you know the goodness and the good continence of hot buttered rum, Miss McCoy?
No, I can't say I do.
Well, let me inform you that it does not matter if it is hot or if it is buttered, as long as it is rum.
I see.
I can still taste the ambrosia.
I see. Well, let me ask you this. I think my recollection is correct. You said that your children also drank beer.
Well, when they are young, that is what they are given because, well, nothing else is good for them. One does not drink water. No, it is very chancy to just drink water. And, of course, milk is given in very, very, very small quantities. But I do from time to time in the morning, I will have my morning breakfast of, as I said, hoe cakes and leftovers from the night before with maybe a small amount of goat's milk. I will do that. I like the taste and I have never had any problems with it.
I see. Now, so we have beer. We also had the hot buttered rum, and beverages are a multi-billion-dollar business in these United States. So, what other drinks were around in your time, Mr. Rollison?
Well, wine, and there is this thing that Mr. Washington has now created in his own a domicile of Mount Vernon. I do not care for it much, not that I want to share it with your... you do say that there are people listening to us as we speak.
That is correct.
Oh, that is...
Quite a few.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh. Well, this thing of whiskey, I think of it as swell, but do not take my word for it. I mean no offense to anyone that might like such a brew.
Mm-hmm.
But I like French wine.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that is where my tastes definitely go.
Quite a palate, I'm sure. Let me ask you this. You did say that drinking plain water is a little dangerous. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
It's more than dangerous. Yes, but go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, just elaborate on that a little bit because now we buy water and we quite frequently drink water. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, the situation is that to drink well water in and of itself, unless there is a certain amount of rocks and filtering, natural, what we call filtering, in the rising of the water, makes it dangerous just to drink. But they are very good streams that do produce cold and refreshing water, but that is very few and far in between.
Well, what we need to do is just leave for just a moment or two to hear a word from our sponsors.
Oh, yes, this is what we did last week, right?
Yes.
Yes, you have people that actually are paying money.
Yes.
That's
exactly what they think of you, so highly of you to do so.
Well, Mr. Franklin would be extremely pleased.
I believe so. So, you sit tight, and we'll be right back.
Payne Associates, servicing both Williamsburg and Gloucester, offers a complete line of accounting services to meet your needs. From corporate to partnership to payroll, Payne Associates are the experts in IRS tax accounting and bookkeeping. Penelope Payne and her staff want to help you get the best possible return. So they are offering free electronic filing, free Virginia return, and free student return with paid parent return. And for new clients, $35 off your tax preparation. Payne also offers QuickBooks support and training. Payne Associates has 2 convenient offices. In Williamsburg, their number is 757-564-0701. In Gloucester at 804-695-9900. Once again, that's Payne Associates, compatible accounting to meet your needs.
We are back with our guest, Mr. John Rollison, Virginia patriot. You know, during our break, Mr. Rollison, we were talking about beverages. You recall?
Oh, yes, of course. Yes, absolutely.
Well, share a little bit about the morning beverages that you had in your time.
Well, as I said during my breakfast, I had, beer, which is always good. But we've had to come up with different things to get away, of course, from the tea situation. So we had cafe, which I don't ever think it will catch on, and also hot chocolate, which I do not, again, necessarily care for it.
Go back a minute. You don't think that the cafe, as you call it, that, ladies and gentlemen, would be our current coffee, but in your day it was cafe?
Well, cafe. I guess it's how you pronounce it.
Oh, that's fine, but you don't think that that's going to become popular?
Oh, God, no. It is, again, excuse my terminology, and I mean no offense, but it is swell.
You think it's swell?
It is not refined as our British tea, but we must all make sacrifices, and so we are dealing with other ways to have things to change. As a matter of fact, I also like minted tea, which is just taking mint leaves and putting it in the water, which is, of course, made hot, and with maybe a douse of honey or sugar, which is, of course, very hard, but
yes.
It is quite nice, actually.
What about chocolate? Did you have that by chance?
Yes,
Chocolate?
we had chocolate, also very grainy to the palate, but it is, I guess, an acquired taste.
Oh, I see. Okay. Well, let's move on to another subject, Mr. Rollison. I now want to talk a little bit about hygiene.
Who is hygiene?
No, not a person. A hygiene like cleanliness, cleaning one's body and so forth.
Well, we are getting this personal. Our listening audience would, again, go ahead.
Well, let's put it this way. I know this question might sound a little foolish, Mr. Rollison.
Now, Miss McCoy, my mother, taught me when I was a wee lad, still grasping tightly upon her skirts. She used to say, John, one cannot take offense upon a question that is yet to ask. So please feel free to ask your questions.
Oh, thank you so much for that. Listen, did you bathe?
Did I bathe?
Yes.
Well, I guess there is always exceptions to the rule. Yes, of course I bathed, yes.
Well, how many times a month?
Well, that also depended upon the season and the ability and the availability of water. During April and also in September, sometimes October, where we would tend to have much more rain come about. We would collect that water and, of course, use it to bathe. During the summer, when there was less water accumulated, well, then we would maybe bathe once, twice a month.
Well, Mr. Rollison, my nostrils are pleasantly surprised. I can smell what seems to be cologne.
Cologne, that sounds French.
In other words, did you bathe in some type of scent or apply some sort of scent to your body?
Oh, yes. Well, from time to time, I was able to, through my tavern, of course, and bartering with various sea captains as well as crews, what we would call French scented water, which of course we would be able to apply to our bath water, and of course by using that in those manners, it would go across your body and give it a very pleasant aroma.
So you bathed in scented bath water.
From time to time, whenever I could lay my hands upon it, yes.
And tell us again, how did you get your hands on this French bath water?
By bartering to and fro with various travelers that would come back and forth, mostly through the seamen and their captains. Of course, we were at very bad times, high inflation, and so coin, whether it be silver or gold, was at a rarity.
Well,
And there was, I'm sorry to...
That's all right. That's all right. Continue.
And so paper money, of course, was worthless. So we would barter back and forth, to and fro.
I see. Did you bathe your children also in this scented bath water?
No. Why would one waste scented water on children?
Well, I'm just asking.
No, we did not do it. As a matter of fact, the water, first I would bathe, and then my goodly wife, Elizabeth, she would bathe in the same water. And then, of course, our children going all the way...
You pass the water from person to person, pass the water down?
Well, yes, we do not want to waste water. And so, of course, it would be myself, my wife, then, of course, my elder children, down to the youngest, which was Sarah. She was the youngest. She would be the last to be bathed. And then, of course, we would disperse of the water at that time.
Well, you have enlightened me. Now I understand what we mean when we say don't throw the baby out with the bath water. On that note, I think it's just about time for me to leave you just for a second and our listening audience so we can hear a word from our sponsor. Will you stay with me and we can come back and talk some more?
It would be my pleasure.
We'll be right back.
Third Millennium Management, LLC, is a privately held management consulting firm responsible for planning, directing, monitoring, and managing the success of a diverse clientele: actors, artists, educators, and more. They will also assist in the development of detailed action plans and the achievement of desired results. You can go and contact Third Millennium Management, LLC, by going to Third, T-H-I-R-D, Millennium, MILLENIUM.net. Once again, that is Third, T-H-I-R-D, Millennium, MILLENIUM.net. Or you can call them direct at 804-329-8825. Once again, that's 804-329-8825. That's Third Millennium Management, LLC.
James A. Cameron Jr., author, historian, the voice, essence, and embodiment of John Rollison, has written a book on the life and times of this very unique 1700s man of color. The book is entitled We Hold These Truths, a conversation with John Rollison, 1723 through 1780, published by D'Artagnan Press, available to you, our listening public. The price is just $19.95 plus $2 for shipping and handling. The book is formatted in a relaxed, down-to-earth, straightforward style of writing. Whether you are 14, 40, 80, or 90 plus, this is a book you will truly cherish. This book is enlightening, exciting, and provocative, and a must-read for any person who loves American history. Please email our Historical Past at hotmail.com if you wish to make a purchase. That's our Historical Past at hotmail.com. Again, our Historical Past at hotmail.com. Thank you.
Payne Associates, servicing both Williamsburg and Gloucester, offers a complete line of accounting services to meet your needs. From corporate to partnership to payroll, Payne Associates are the experts in IRS tax accounting and bookkeeping. Penelope Payne and her staff want to help you get the best possible return. So they are offering free electronic filing free Virginia return, and free student return with paid parent return. And for new clients, $35 off your tax preparation. Payne also offers QuickBooks support and training. Payne Associates has 2 convenient offices. In Williamsburg, their number is 757-564-0701. In Gloucester at 804-695-9900. Once again, that's Payne Associates, compatible accounting to meet your needs.
Well, we are back with our guest, Mr. John Rollison, Virginia Patriot. And audience, you can't see this, but, earlier we were talking about beverages, and Mr. Rollison advised me that he was not too keen on the coffee of his day. But I have served Mr. Rollison some coffee, a cup of coffee, fresh perked with just a spot of sugar and cream, and he seems quite content. What do you think, Mr. Rollison?
My God, this is exquisite. And so this is how they now drink coffee upon your day.
Yes, we even have entire stores and little eateries and
centered around this coffee.
Yes, definitely.
Well, let me tell you that if we had coffee this exquisite, maybe we would have split from the mother country even sooner than we did.
Well, let's move on. We've talked about beverages, we've talked about bathing. I want to switch gears just a bit and talk about voting. Mr. Rollison, in your time, could you vote?
No, I was not able to vote because I am mulatto. That right was taken away many years before I was even conceived.
So actually the laws stopped you from being able to vote and to hold office.
Yes, that is true. Even if someone, citizens, wanted to have me to be part of the Burgess, no, I would not be permitted to do so. But I want to make it clear that those in the northern states, with the population being Irish or even Hebrew, they also could not vote or run or hold political office. So it is not, as you would say, just based upon me being mulatto. It is how the power wanted to keep and condense their power to a noted few.
I see. Did you keep up with I know it's almost time for us to go, but did you keep up with the politics of your day?
Well, of course, I read Mr. Purdy's paper, the Gazette, and, of course, also many of the sea captains again, and the sailors and basic travelers that came to and fro into the tavern. They also came bearing news. And so one would always find new things that were going on upon all the new and profound states that way.
Well, that sounds very interesting. We might want to talk about that in the near future. But for now, it's time for us to go. And I want to thank certainly our listening audience for joining us. But I want to thank you, Mr. Rollison. And before we go, do you have anything in parting that you want to say or
Well,
share?
just as I said last week, God bless to our audience. God bless to our fighting men. And from what I have heard, women now serve in our military. Is that true?
That is correct.
Well, I say that we are an enlightened republic, and God bless them as well, and God bless our newfound United States.
Thank you so much, Mr. Rollison. And until we meet again, I'm Peyton McCoy, your moderator, and I'd like to ask our listening audience, please go to askjohnrollison@hotmail.com, and there you can give us your comments and send us an email. That's askjohnrollison@hotmail.com. And in the meantime, don't forget to join us each Sunday, 9:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. Put it on your calendar. That's 9:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. on WLBG Williamsburg 740 a.m. Thanks so much, and have a great day.